Most people think manifesting means asking the universe for what you want, picturing it hard enough, and then waiting for it to arrive. But if that were true, the people who want it the most would already have everything, and they don't. So either the universe is quietly ignoring the most desperate people on Earth, or manifesting is real, and it has almost nothing to do with the universe. Here's the part nobody selling you a vision board wants to admit. Manifesting does work, sometimes, for some people, in a way you can actually measure. But it doesn't work because your thoughts send out a signal. It works because of 3 quiet things your brain is already doing, right now, while you watch this. The first one decides what you're even able to notice. The second one decides whether you believe you can do it. And the third one is where almost everyone goes wrong. The exact moment the magic ends and the science quietly takes over. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the filter inside your head that decides what's real to you and what stays invisible. Then I'll show you why confidence runs backwards from the way you've always been told. And then we'll get to the one move, the single most common mistake, that makes most people's manifesting quietly fall apart, even when they're doing everything else right. No universe, no quantum field, just your brain, doing what it was built to do. Stay with me, because the first one changes how you see your whole day. Let's start with the thing that feels the most like magic. You decide you want a certain car, and suddenly, that car is everywhere. On your street, at the lights, in the parking lot. It feels like the world rearranged itself around your desire. It didn't. The cars were always there. What changed is the filter. Right now, your eyes and ears are pulling in a flood of information. By some estimates, around 11 million pieces of data every second. Your conscious mind can handle maybe 40 of them. So your brain runs a bouncer at the door. Most of reality never gets in. It gets filtered out before you ever notice it. Here's the part that matters. That filter isn't neutral. It tunes itself to whatever you've told it is important. The manifesting crowd calls this the reticular activating system, and they're half right. That's a real structure, but its real job is mostly keeping you awake and alert. The part that actually decides what's personally relevant to you sits deeper. A network sometimes called the salience network, running through regions with names like the anterior insula and the anterior cingulate. You don't need the names. You need the idea. When something starts to matter to you, your brain quietly promotes it from background noise to signal. So let's call this the tuning filter. And once you understand it, the signs make sense. But wait, you might say, doesn't that mean the universe is showing me signs? I get why it feels that way, but it's the other direction. You're not summoning the cars. You tuned the filter, and now it's letting them through. Psychologists even have a name for the everyday version, the frequency illusion. The world didn't fill up with what you want. You just started seeing what was already there. And here's the catch, because this filter has a shadow side. It doesn't only tune to what you want, it tunes to what you believe. So if you're quietly convinced that good things don't happen to people like you, your brain goes hunting for evidence of exactly that, and finds it. That's confirmation bias, and it's the same machine running in reverse. The filter is loyal. It just gives you more of whatever you trained it to look for. So the first real move isn't to want harder, it's to get specific. A vague wish, I want to be happy, I want more money, gives your filter nothing to lock onto. A specific target gives it a setting. You're not casting a spell, you're programming a search. Now before we go further, sit with that for a second, because this is the hinge the whole thing turns on. Everything you've ever called luck, or a sign, or the universe lining things up. A huge slice of it is just your own attention, deciding what gets through. That's not smaller than magic. In a way, it's bigger, because it means the dial is in your hands. Okay, stay with me, because the next part is where most people quietly trip. You've been told that belief comes first. Believe it, feel it is already done, and then it shows up. So people stand at the mirror repeating that they're confident, they're wealthy, they're loved, and they wait to feel it. For most people, that feeling never quite arrives, and they decide they must be broken. You're not broken. You've just got the order backwards. Your brain doesn't hand out confidence in advance. It builds confidence from evidence. There's a researcher named Albert Bandura who spent decades on exactly this, and he found that the single strongest source of believing you can do something is having already done something like it. He called those mastery experiences. Tiny proof. You try, it half works, and your brain quietly updates. Okay, maybe I can. Not because you chanted it, because you showed it. Let's call this backwards belief. Confidence isn't the thing you summon before you act. It's the residue your brain leaves behind after you act. You don't think your way into a new self-image, you collect evidence your way into it. So affirmations are useless? Not exactly, but here's the trap. If you stand there telling yourself something your brain flatly does not believe, there's research suggesting that for people who are already low on confidence, it can actually make them feel worse, because the gap between the words and the evidence just gets louder. An affirmation with no proof underneath it is a check your brain won't cash. So the move here is almost embarrassingly small. Instead of trying to believe the whole mountain at once, you give your brain one piece of evidence today. One rep. One email actually sent. One hard conversation you actually had. The belief doesn't lead, it follows. And once you've stacked enough small proof, the thing you used to have to fake starts to feel true. Because by then, it is. Which brings us to the part where the magic actually ends. And this one is going to feel backwards, so stay with me. The whole heart of modern manifesting is this. Picture it vividly. See yourself in the dream house. Feel the dream relationship. Live in the finished version as if it's already yours. And it turns out that move, vividly visualizing the outcome, is the one most likely to quietly work against you. A psychologist named Gabriele Oettingen has studied this for years. Across study after study, people who fantasized about already having the thing, the job, the grade, the recovery, tended to put in less effort and on average got worse results than people who didn't. In one set of studies, the students who daydreamed the most about their dream job after graduation ended up with fewer offers and lower pay. Why? Because your brain is a little gullible about imagination. Picture the win in enough detail, and part of your mind responds as if you've already got it. You get a small hit of the reward now. And the moment you feel like you've arrived, your energy to actually go and get it drops. Call it the finish line trap. You celebrate the finish line in your head, and your legs stop running. This is the quiet killer. It's why someone can do a vision board every single morning and somehow drift further from the goal. They're not lazy. They've been handed a technique that satisfies the craving instead of fueling it. So visualization is a lie? No, and this is the nuance the hype skips. There's a version of mental practice that genuinely works. Rehearsing the process, the actual steps, the messy middle, the way an athlete rehearses the movement and not just the medal. That's a real, measurable thing, and it's a whole video of its own, coming soon. But fantasizing the trophy with none of the work attached? That's the part the science doesn't back. That's where the magic ends. So if picturing the win backfires, what do you do instead? You do something I'll call the half step, and it takes about 60 seconds. First, name the wish, specifically. Not be successful, the actual thing. Second, and this is the part everyone skips, name the obstacle. The real one. The one inside you. Not the economy. More like, I freeze right before I hit send. Hold the dream and the obstacle in the same breath. That contrast is what stops your brain from feeling finished, because now there's a problem in the picture, and brains lean toward problems. Third, attach one if-then move. If it's 9 a.m., then I write the first line before I touch my phone. That's it. Wish, obstacle, one tiny action. That's the whole machine. Your filter gets a clear target to tune to. Your small action gives your brain the evidence that builds belief. And the obstacle keeps you from celebrating a finish line you haven't crossed yet. 3 real mechanisms, doing quietly what the universe was getting all the credit for. So let's go back to where we started. You were never really waiting on the universe. You were waiting on your own attention to tune in, your own evidence to stack up, your own next move to happen. Manifesting, the real version, isn't a wish you send out and hope something catches. It's a loop you close. Notice, act, believe, repeat, until the life that used to live only in your head starts showing up around you. The people who seem to manifest effortlessly aren't luckier than you. They've just been running this loop without a name for it. Now you have the name. And you don't have to believe the whole dream today. You only have to take the half step. Name the wish. Name the obstacle. Make the one move. Your brain will take it from there, because that's the only place it was ever happening. Quick note. This is here to explain how your mind works, not as medical or psychological advice. If you're carrying something heavy, a good professional beats any video, this one included.